Hello, I'm Malcolm Hazlitt. Our very special guest on this first episode for 2021 is Sheffield Shield cricketer, football umpire, radio and TV host and commentator, the legend that is KG, Ken Cunningham. Welcome to Our Time. It's great that we have a very special guest who I've been waiting for quite some time to have a chat with. It's the amazing Ken Cunningham. Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Malcolm. Great to be with you.
It actually is, because for years we were at Channel 9 together.
Absolutely. And
in the halcyon days.
And how good were those days, Malcolm?
Brilliant.
I have wonderful memories of you and Tom Fairley and all those guys taking part. It was magnificent.
Well, there's Wellesley. Ernie was there at the time.
Ian Fairweather.
Yes, he was my boss at the time.
Right.
Kevin Crease was there.
The best newsreader I've ever worked with, Kevin Crease.
So many of those people sadly have gone, but we're still here.
Thank goodness for that, Malcolm.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What do you think is the secret to a long, happy life?
Well, enjoying yourself, that's first and foremost. I can remember being lucky enough to work at 9, love my job, love my involvement with sport, and just doing the things that we're able to do.
To make you happy. So
make you happy.
Where did the sport start for you?
Well, it started very early in my life. The only thing that I ever wanted to do, Malcolm, was to be involved in sport, whether it be kicking the foot in the backyard, holding the cricket bat, or whatever. School-wise.
Was cricket your first love?
Cricket's my first love, always been my first love. Right. I can remember we lived in a little place in Aldridge Avenue at Brayville. It's now Plimpton. Mm-hmm. The Housing Trust Commission home, which we lived in for 15 years, was just demolished last year. And I had a tank stand, which was my wicket. The bat I had was made out of the fence paling by Dad, and he'd throw a ball at me every night, and I'd practice my cricket, and that's where the love started from, Malcolm.
So you're a left-handed?
Left-hander.
Why? What's the difference?
Well, the only things I do left-handed is bat.
Oh, okay.
And play golf left-handed.
Right.
Everything else, I'm
right-handed.
Right-handed. I'm a bit of a freak, if you like.
Yeah, that's a real curiosity. Did that draw attention as a young man playing?
Oh, no, not really. It just came natural to me.
About hitting the ball.
Exactly right. No, it was just normal.
Was there what makes a good batsman?
Well, he's got to work on his technique. Mm-hmm. He's got to have good concentration. And he's got to have
eyesight.
Good eyesight, obviously.
I mean, it's a small thing, isn't it?
Good footwork, all that sort of thing, and a passion for what he's doing in life. Yeah. And I had a wonderful passion for cricket.
The passion's the thing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It drives you. It's
got to be like breathing air.
Exactly. I can remember saying to Dad when I was only a boy of about 12 or 14, that Dad, one day I would love to be lucky enough and good enough to play state cricket. Little did I know that day would happen, that one of the best days of my life in 1961 when I played my first game against Victoria. Then I was lucky throughout my career, as luck would have it, because I was just a very ordinary cricketer, Malcolm, but I loved the game, that I was lucky enough to captain South Australia on a number of occasions.
Yes, but you're putting yourself down there a bit. You weren't just ordinary.
I was a very average cricketer.
That's in your opinion.
Exactly.
But somebody would have been commentating on you, as you have with many others, and true. I'm sure that's not what they said.
No, but I just had a wonderful
I read up a bit on you.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
It would have been boring reading that,
No, it was very interesting. There's a lot of stuff about you, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But how did all that come about, though? Were you spotted? Were you headhunted? How did it happen?
Well, it was amazing. Let me tell you, when I went to Ascot Park Primary School, and which I loved. And my first year at Goodwood Tech, I had this stutter that so bad that when Mum would send me to the shop after school to get something for tea, I'd wait till the shop was empty, and then I'd go in, and at times I would try to say what I wanted. I couldn't get it out, and I'd run home crying. And so bad was it that it got me to the verge of having a nervous breakdown. I can remember Mum taking me to our doctor, Dr. George Solomon in Victoria Square. It was then we were living in town. And he said, Mrs. Cunningham, Ken's got a problem. He said, I'll have to write to the education department. He wrote to the education department, and a month later I got a letter from the doctor and the education department saying I have been excused from going to school. I got an exemption from going to school.
Gracious.
So my schooling was 6 months at Goodwood Tech, and that was it. I was 12 at the time, yeah. And little did I know then, Malcolm, that down the track I'd be lucky enough to do what I've done. I've been blessed, Malcolm.
A talker.
Well, not a very good one.
I beg to differ. You've had a passion throughout everything you've done, for everything you've done.
I loved it.
Do you know, interesting you should say that, because you would remember Wally Carr, the singer.
Oh, Wally Carr. And I used to love him singing.
But, you know, he stammered and stuttered as a child, and the only way he could get anything out was to sing. Yep.
It's an amazing,
and he cured it by singing.
Well, I was lucky enough to be involved in team sport, which made me concentrate, talk slowly, and, you know, start again sort of thing. But I was terrible, absolutely terrible.
So at what point did you sort of swing from the cricket bat swinging to football and umpiring?
Well, I was a mad West Adelaide supporter, mad West Adelaide supporter, and I played with the West Adelaide senior Colts when I was 17, and I hurt my knee. And my late father was an umpire at the time, and he said to me, son, look, your first love and first passion is cricket. Why don't you become a boundary umpire? A boundary umpire, it'll help your fitness, you'll get paid, and no injuries. So I became a boundary umpire, did the 1961 grand final on the boundary, and then went from boundary to field umpire, and was lucky enough to umpire some grand finals.
You must have felt that crowd roar. If you were on the boundary, that amazing sound.
It does wonders for you. You know, when I was umpire, I was only the one umpire, and you know, in finals, the crowd at Adelaide Oval used to lift you.
Yes.
You'd feel a part of the buzz.
It's an extraordinary feeling, isn't it? And sound.
It's a great feeling. Great feeling.
It really hits your body, doesn't it?
And that's what sport does to you. When you're involved in an activity, a sport, a team game, whatever, there's nothing better than being involved in sport, Malcolm.
It's a family.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, like you tour with people as I did in the state, so I'd go away for 3 weeks, live with various people, different cricketers, you room with them. You have a feeling of being belong.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fine. I think everything in life is about finding your tribe.
It is.
And you found your tribe, obviously, but you found many tribes.
As I've said many times to many people, Malcolm, my lifestyle, I've been absolutely blessed. Somebody up there likes me. To be able to do what I've done, it's just amazing.
And to meet the woman of your dreams.
Oh, God, don't start. That's... Yep.
We've got a photo of you when you got married.
Yes.
Which is a cute photo.
At Holy Trinity Church on North Terrace.
North Terrace.
My mother and father were married there.
Right.
And we were married on the 25th of March 1965, Sandra and I.
There's good that you've never forgotten.
Never, and I'll never will forget it.
Just after my birthday. Let's have a look at the shot of you when you were just a young man with this woman who was by your side for a good portion of your life.
Well, that's the one, and as you can see there, how lucky was I? My lovely wife could have had anybody she wanted. Why she picked me, I have no idea.
She loved you.
But I'm glad she did. We were married 52 years, and she was the most beautiful lady.
Well, this is a more recent photo we've got next.
Now look at that.
Look at that.
Now,
where were you there?
We're living on the lake.
At West Lakes.
West Lakes, living on the lake at West Lakes. That's before she became sick, and oh God, I get emotional when I talk about it.
Well, Ken, this is the hard part, isn't it? Yep. This is the hard part of losing the love of your life.
Well, that's one of the worst days of my life, Malcolm. You know, because I couldn't have done anything like I've done without that beautiful lady. She made so much. When I say she, Sandra made so many sacrifices to let me do that. I used to say to her, look, love, I'll take this weekend off and we'll go away. And she'd say, no, love, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, looking after the kids, being with them. You're happy doing what you do, you do it. And that was, she said that to me.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Because, Ken,
anybody in the media, as you've been for a good portion of that time,
Yeah.
you realise you got to be there. When they ask you to be there, you got to be there.
As you well know.
And if your partner isn't understanding of that, and it's difficult if you're not involved in the business.
Well, exactly. I can remember also Malcolm Sanders saying to me, "Love, the media's not for me. You love it, you enjoy it. It's not me. I just want to stay home. I want to be with the kids, and I'm happy to do that. You go and do what you've got to do."
And you have how many kids?
We've got 2 kids. We had Scott and Sally, boy and a girl. I've got 3 gorgeous granddaughters who are honestly the love of my life.
I've seen some of the
Oh,
photos.
God, honestly.
Your daughter's been fantastic with you as well.
Well, since I lost Sam 5 years ago, I wouldn't have got through.
Yeah,
Sorry.
look, it's interesting because I guess in life we all lose those closest to us at some point, and it's really hard to think, I just can't go on without that person.
Well, I thought many times about that. You know,
But something's kept you going.
well, the grandkids and my 2 kids have kept me going.
The love of your family.
I love it. But my family's been.
She gave you those.
Well, been like a rock to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for that. You know, my grandkids now, I just worship the ground they walk on. I take them to school. I pick them up. You know,
What do they call you?
They call me Pop.
Pop. Okay.
And one of them had her 17th birthday yesterday, and we had lunch out at Norwood, and just had a wonderful day.
Oh, just lovely. Look, we'll be back in a tick to talk more with Ken about the rest of his life, because there's so much more to talk about. Welcome back to Our Time. Our very special guest is Ken Cunningham, better known in South Australia as KG. KG, where did it come from?
Well, it's an amazing...
It should be KC.
Well, no.
And the Sunshine Band.
I can remember playing my first Sheffield Shield game against Victoria Point at the Adelaide Oval, and during the game, you're asked to sign autographs and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
So I just signed KG Cunningham, and Ian Chappell said to me, "What's this KG business?" I said, "Well, my second name is George, so it's KG Cunningham." And from that day, that game, all the players only ever called me KG. And it stuck. And I love it.
It's stuck for everything, though, from the TV shows, for everything.
Correct. KG's footy show, yeah.
So how did the TV thing happen for you? How did...
Well, it goes way back to 1968. They had the Michael Peterson Sports Show
oh, yes, I remember.
on Channel 9, and Bo Morton, who was then the president of the Sturt Footy Club, said to me, after I retired from umpiring, I was a big head, by the way, I was a prima donna, I spat the dummy.
Oh, did you?
I was only 20.
Why did you spit the dummy?
Well, because I got a bad report, and I was only 27 at the time, and I said,
okay.
That report's rubbish, and never umpired again. That's another story, but...
But it actually moved you into another interesting career.
Well, it did.
Yeah.
It did, and Bo Morton said to me, "Look, I've spoken to Michael Peterson for you. Go and have a chat to Michael about, doing some TV work." So I went and spoke to Michael Peterson. He said, "Oh, Ken, you talk too quick. Your use of the English language is not all that good." He was brutally honest with me. He said, "Look, leave it with me." Anyway, cut a long story short, Stan Wickham was also on the panel at the time, and he was sick, and Ken Appleton took sick at the same time. So he said,
Who do we get?
Who do we get? So he invited me in, and that's how it started.
I love that.
1968.
I remember seeing you in those days.
Yeah, well, you were there.
And what was good about it was you had an opinion and you stuck to it. And I think that's what endeared you to everybody.
Well, the opinion was hardly ever right, Malcolm, I can assure you. I said the first thing that came into my head.
But this is what live television should be.
Exactly.
It should, because that's what we've lost.
Well, ad-libbing, having an opinion, that's gone.
I mean, we've not talked at all about what we're talking about now.
No.
Because we didn't talk before we started the interview.
Not a word.
But the beauty is that the honesty of a person comes through, and I think that's what the public saw in you.
As long as you don't go over the line, that's all.
Well,
I did a couple of times, but that's life, isn't it?
Sometimes we all do that. But again, that's what makes us human.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Again, that's what makes us interesting.
Exactly right.
Because that's what's been lost out of this whole media thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's being so perfect and virtually reading everything off a screen. Tell me about Tell me about the 1980 Australia Day honours.
Well, look, that came like a bolt out of the blue. I never ever dreamt that I would receive such an. I got a letter from the post saying that.
What's the post?
Well, yeah, in the mail.
Yeah, what's that?
Saying that I'd been recommended for an honours award. Would I accept it? And I said to San, San, can you believe this? How did this come about? And I found out later that it was the Premier of South Australia, John Bannon.
Respect, isn't it?
Yes,
it's the real meaning of the word respect. And
that was a fantastic honour, and I've still got the little badge home and so forth, which holds a very proud place.
And what about the other award that you received? I've watched this. I wanted to show a bit of it, but it's somehow protected, and we couldn't show the bit that I wanted to show. This is when you were awarded with the Football Hall. It's the Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, I've been lucky enough. I've been inducted into the SANFL Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. That was a huge honour, but probably the biggest honour when I was inducted into the Adelaide Oval Hall of Fame, because I started my cricket career when I was 12 at the Adelaide Oval. My first coach was Clary Grimmett, and I had an association with that ground from being 12, where I played for the Adelaide Cricket Club, which home ground was Adelaide Oval number 2 and Adelaide Oval. And then, of course, I had an affiliation with the ground through my umpiring days, and I absolutely love the place. Malcolm, there's no doubt, I'm biased, but there's no doubt in my mind that is the best ground with the cathedral and the.
Pretty special to be right in the middle of the city.
It's beautiful. We are blessed
now
here.
Next to the river.
Exactly. Memorial Drive being upgraded. It is beautiful. I love it.
For a few years, I've done the Carols by Candlelight there, and those nights when the fireworks goes off, the colours are drifting across the stadium. You can see way down the river. It's really a very
Malcolm,
pretty sight.
we are blessed in this state. This is the best place to
Sorry,
live.
Victorian. Sorry, because the show goes to Victoria.
Oh, sorry.
But, you know, it's beautiful over there too, but we love it here. That's why we're here.
Exactly right. I love it.
And that's another thing. You didn't go elsewhere. You stayed in your hometown.
Yes, I had a chance to go to Melbourne and play club cricket for Footscray. They invited me over there to play. But I said to Mum and Dad, I don't want to move out of Adelaide. Adelaide's always been my home. I was born and bred in the West End of Adelaide, a little street called Market Street, but I've always been Adelaide. And whilst it would have been a great opportunity, I decided that I would stay home. But plus the fact I get a bit homesick, man.
You could be the king of the West End. Perhaps that's a new name.
Well, Whitmore Square was my footy ground.
Yes, the West End.
Doug Thomas was my neighbour.
Yes.
And he was the leader of the gang, so to speak. So there you go. I had good company.
What advice would you give a young bloke or girl who's starting off with a love of sport as you had?
Well, Malcolm, there's never been a greater opportunity to be a part of a wonderful lifestyle. As we see today, you know, cricketers, footballers, rugby league players, tennis players, you name the sport, if you've got the passion, if you've got the desire, if you've got the commitment in a given sport, if you give it 100%, and you can't give it 99.9, it's got to be 100%, you have the greatest chance to lead a blessed life. Like
a healthy life too.
Healthy life. I've never worked a day in my life.
Yes, I know the feeling.
Never worked a day, as you would know.
Well, I'm not a sporty person. My whole interest has always been in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
But
That's the same thing.
I'd say exactly the same thing. It's got to be like breathing air.
Well,
You've got to love it that much.
You've got to have a strong passion for it.
Because it's hard. Like, it's physically hard training.
Yep.
Same in sport, same in my business.
But you've got to put you've got to make the commitment. You've got to make the sacrifices. All those things go hand in hand.
Yeah, when you're playing though, it feels like you're flying.
Oh,
when you're performing, same thing.
Exactly right.
I guess we're all performing in that sense.
That's what life's about. Performing.
It is. Look, we'll be back. Oh no! Before we go, I'd just like to show it. Talking about. Also bringing young people into the game and coaching, because I know you've done quite a bit of that.
Yes.
We've got a shot here of you with a young man, and you're teaching him, I guess, punting or whatever.
Handball.
Handball.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that a...
Well, that was a clinic we used to run when I was working at Radio 5DN, and we used to have clinics for budding footballers and budding cricketers. This was an example, we'll show in a minute, that I was teaching.
Here we are.
Yeah, there you go. Teaching a young
Join
guy.
Ken Cunningham's
Football clinic. Yeah, and then we had the cricket clinic as well, which we do in the summertime, and that ran for, I reckon, 8 or 9 years.
Do we know what happened to that lad?
Well, we don't, but one of the young boys that won an award was Mark Prosciutto.
Right.
Mark Prosciutto. So there you go.
And that's another quick thing. How on earth do you remember everybody's names? Because it's just so many people you're commentating on.
Oh, well, that's easy, Malcolm, really.
It is?
Well, if you put the time
I have enough trouble remembering who I am. What are you talking about?
Well, I do at times now. I'm 81, for goodness sake.
Are you 81?
81.
It's been good to you, Ken.
Oh, well, Malcolm, it's been more than good to me. I can't say a big enough thank you for what's happened in my lifestyle. You know, if I was to leave this earth, and hopefully I don't, if I was to leave this earth tomorrow, I would leave this earth as a very happy and satisfied and grateful person.
I think if you can say that at the end of your life,
it's not bad, is
it? You've had the life.
Yeah, exactly.
You really have had the life.
Oh, yeah.
But your life is far from over because you're still working.
Yeah,
you're still working.
I'm still lucky enough to be working, doing some radio work.
So you've had a long association with Ken Corns?
No, Graham Corns.
Oh, Graham Corns, I mean.
Graham Corns, I've worked with Cornsy now for over 23 years.
I should have called him Cornsy. I was being smart.
No.
Trying to use his full name.
I've worked with Cornsy for over 23 years now. In fact, this is the second time I've been back with him.
Is it like a marriage where you know what you're going to do?
Funny you should say that. I often say to Cornsy, which I did 6 months ago, I say, you know, Cornsy, now I'm back. I've worked with you longer than you've been with your 3 wives combined. And you laugh.
We'll be back with more of those stories in just a tick. We're back on Our Time with our very special guest, Ken Cunningham, or KG, as most people know.
KG.
Do you really like that?
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
do your kids call you KG?
Dad? My youngest granddaughter, Dakota, calls me KG. She calls me Pop when she's angry.
Oh, okay.
So I beware. I beware.
Don't you love that?
Yeah, I do.
What are your highlights in your life, do you think?
Oh, my family, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
My two kids, when they were born, was magnificent. The day I married my beautiful wife, Sandra, that was a highlight. And, you know, I only have one regret in my life, and I don't like having regrets, Malcolm, but if I had my time again, I would be a better husband to the most beautiful lady in my life.
I understand that.
Because I was selfish.
But she was beautiful in that she gave you that.
I understand that.
That was her gift to
you. But I wanted to give something back, and the week she died, well, we had a chat about it, and you know, you can say things, but words are cheap. It's actions that speak louder.
But you're doing it now, Ken.
Well, I am, but
you're showing how much.
That's the one regret
her.
I've got in my life. But my family is my priority. A son, a daughter, 3 granddaughters.
Yeah.
Who could wish for anything better?
What about in the media?
Yeah.
What's a highlight for
you? I desperately tried to interview Sir Donald Bradman, and he wrote a letter which I've still got home back to me when the Bradman story, Gary Sweet played Bradman.
Oh yes.
And he graciously declined because he said the movie was embellished a bit to make it entertaining, and he didn't want to be seen to supporting that. A beautiful letter.
Isn't that interesting? Because, you know, he used to play cricket next door to my theatre.
Well, there you go.
Because it was the first electric light cricket pitch in South Australia. What a strange thing.
Amazing. But one of the highlights that we chased when Muhammad Ali, and I'm not a boxing enthusiast, but I just love the way that he entertained people. And we chased him, my producer and I chased him for 18 months all over America. The amount of times that I went into the 5DN studios expecting to get Muhammad Ali. When we finally got him, I froze when my producer said, we got Muhammad Ali on the phone. I almost froze. And you know, Malcolm, he was so giving. That interview went for 25 minutes. He described the day that he threw his gold medals into the river, and we replayed that sadly on the day that he passed. That was the highlight, Muhammad Ali.
This has been a highlight for me.
No, Malcolm.
No, really, it has. And it's just lovely to have you with us again on Our Time for this year. So until next time we meet, keep yourself nice till then. Next time on Our Time, an old friend returns, Kimberly Douglas. We're talking about post-pandemic.
Yes, and guess what I'm going to be doing? Checking up on you. Have you done what we talked about?
Me?
Lost the weight, changed the diet, maybe stopped a bit at the takeaway. I'm going to be checking. Vitamin D, exercise program.
Oh, okay, that's next time on Our Time. Can't wait. All we need is you.